Hello and welcome to This Is Austin. You recently had a very controversial IGTV. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes. So in many ways, I prefer the Apple Watch over any other Apple product, including the iPhone. Before we get into that, huge shout out to Survivor Endurance Cases for the brand new iPhone 12 for sponsoring this video. I like the Apple Watch a lot. So I'm coming from a background of never really wearing watches or smartwatches. I did like the original Moto 360 way back in ye olden 2013, 2014.
I liked it. I liked the way it looked. I was not particularly a fan of the square watches initially.
Yeah.
But I found myself never really using it. I feel like at that point, smartwatches.
It was very early.
Yeah.
So I remember when the Apple Watch, because of course the Apple Watch had been rumored for years and years. We're talking back like 2014, 2015. I remember these were back in the days where you really had to wake up at midnight to order things. I slept in till like 2 a.m. and there was like one stainless steel Apple Watch left in the Apple store. I'm like, I should probably make a video on it. So I just grabbed it. I have not taken off the Apple Watch since 2015. I say that as hyperbole, but especially these days with the sleep tracking, this watch lives on my wrist probably 23 and a half hours a day.
And I'm the same way. I charge this for like 30 minutes before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Like I'll go to like, watch TV or something before bed. I have the 3, so I don't have the proper sleep tracking. I have my fake sleep tracking.
What's that?
It's, you just look, basically look at your move ring.
What?
If you look at your move ring, that will tell you if you had sleep.
So you just check to see?
So at 12 a.m., which is incidentally when we had an earthquake, you're tossing and turning. So that's my sleep tracker.
So the more modern Apple Watches, so I'm using a Series 4, which is still a couple years old,
Yeah.
but this has the proper sleep tracking, but there's so much that the Apple Watch does. And we're kind of missing the whole point of my IGTV, which is I use an Apple Watch with my Galaxy Z Flip. Surprise, surprise, another video where Austin shoehorns his favorite phone in for some nefarious reason.
We're never going to escape this phone.
So the way that my life works is that I have 3 main devices that I carry. Apple Watch, of course, literally lives on my wrist all day long. The Z Flip is my primary phone. Now this has somewhat changed over the last week or so with the iPhone 12 mini, which I have been spending a lot more time with. But a lot of what I like to do is use the Z Flip alongside the Apple Watch. Now you might be wondering, Austin, you're an idiot. Why would you do that? To which I would respond, yeah, I am. But secondly, I would also respond that these two work out together fairly well. Now, yes, they don't actually talk to each other at all.
Yeah.
But there's a workaround.
To confirm, that you cannot pair your Apple Watch
No.
with Android.
Not unless you go with the big brain move of an LTE Apple Watch, a Z Flip, and an iPhone somewhere in the vicinity, although the LTE Apple Watch gets notifications all by itself. So of course it will jump on like Wi-Fi or something when I'm in the studio or when I'm at the office. But when I'm out and about, I don't need my iPhone with me. This will still get all the notifications. I'll still get phone calls, iMessages, all that kind of stuff to the watch. And I have pretty much all those same notifications synced to the Z Flip. So if I see a Slack notification or email notification on the watch, I'll get it on my Z Flip and I'll just pull it out and deal with it. I'm just gonna say, this is the smartest thing I have ever done.
Must be nice to be privileged, Austin.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are many reasons why the Apple Watch is worth all of the rigmarole of multiple phones and stuff. And to be fair, I do use an iPhone for some things, right? So pretty much anything social related, so photos and really primarily video, always shot on the iPhone. It just straight up is a better overall experience, not only just with cameras and video, but also just in like apps. Like Instagram is so much better on iOS. This video is sponsored by the Survivor Endurance case lineup for the iPhone 12. So we've both been rocking the iPhone 12 mini recently, and one of the nice things about this tiny phone is that it is a really good pairing with a thin but durable case.
Yeah, even though this is a super low profile case, it still has 14 feet of drop protection.
With the FortiCore impact, FortiCore impact resistant material?
Technology.
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 I was so close. On top of that, you also do have an antimicrobial coating on the case. So I'm actually someone who usually uses my phone. I pretty much clean it off with one of those UV like light cleaners. But the fact that I can have that kind of protection of like 99.9% of germs being killed by the actual phone case itself is really, really nice. On top of that, you also do have support for MagSafe charging, so you can just slap it right on the back. And it is, of course, 5G compatible. So definitely be sure to check out the Survivor series of cases at the link in the description, or you can go and check them out locally at Verizon stores throughout the country. And of course, huge shout out to Survivor for sponsoring this video.
So you do all that
Yep.
in what you call your big brain move.
Yeah, I do call it that.
But a lot of people had the question, myself included, why not just use an Android Wear instead of using the Apple Watch.
I
It
don't know
seems
what
like a
you're
lot
talking
to
about.
go through just to do that.
Okay, few reasons. First of all, most Android-based smartwatches, so I will throw the Samsung Galaxy Watch, is actually a slightly different category because I like them more than any other Apple Watch. So I spent some time using the Galaxy Gear S2 for a video we did on main channel, which was actually a surprisingly good experience, especially paired with the Z Flip. It is a very solid sort of watch, but the problem is, it feels very much like a knockoff of the Apple Watch. I mean, even down to the things like the way that the notifications show up, the icons, like everything felt like it was like a slightly cheesier, slightly less sophisticated version of what you get on the Apple Watch, which of course, a lot of that is absolutely up to your own personal taste. So the Gear watches are compatible with Android and iOS, which to be fair, Wear OS, which was formerly known as Android Wear, also does work on iOS. However, I think that there's some disconnect on using non-Apple Watches on an iPhone, which is a little bit of a side note for this video. Generally speaking, they don't get that deep level of integration that the Apple Watch does. I mean, the Apple Watch does a lot of things very seamlessly, but there are a bunch of reasons, Matt, why I like the Apple Watch more. You know this, you use the Apple Watch.
I do use the Apple Watch, and I like, besides my physical appearance would tell you otherwise, I do actually use it for a lot of fitness tracking.
You burn so many more calories than me. You make me feel bad when I look at the notifications on my watch.
Well, yeah, again, I'm a big guy, but I actually do work out kind of a lot. We do a lot with when we're filming, that being able to look at notifications while we're filming silently is actually super helpful. I didn't have any preference over the Android versus the the Apple Watch, other than at the time when I bought this, I was using an iPhone.
There are a bunch of things that I really like about the Apple Watch, right? So, of course, there are the default basics, right? I do think the health tracking and the fitness tracking is really, really solid, right? But also you get things like I can listen to Spotify. I can pair like AirPods directly to the watch. And as I bump my mic, I can go run with LTE on the watch and I can listen to my music.
So that's something I'm excited for when I upgrade, is I'm going for the LTE. But I think that's probably the best feature out of what's available for that.
There are a lot of legitimately really nice fitness features and health features attached to the watch, right? So being able to constantly check your heart rate, especially when you're sleeping. So the full-on sleep tracking will tell me throughout the night, like, oh, I'm at 70 beats per minute, I'm at 40, I'm at 50, like whatever the case is.
The thing that is always a selling point, but also for a lot of people a deterrent, is the integration with the ecosystem. The thing that I'm most excited about, it's not out yet, so maybe it sucks, I don't know, but the Fitness Plus.
Oh, that is very cool.
Which is, integrate with your watch. So like, you have these Peloton style, workouts where they record them, it's like work out along with them, and it pairs with your watch, and all your stats are up on up on the TV with you. I know that I'm super metric driven when it comes to that.
Same.
And so like, if I don't know the exact amount of calories, if I don't I have zero motivation for that. As soon as I have these, it's little things of just like, hey, you can still do it today.
It's nice to be able to have that level of competition, the full sort of experience. And of course, there are also decent amount of apps on the Apple Watch. It's certainly not incredibly robust, but things like Spotify work well. I use Pocket Casts a lot. The Toyota app actually works pretty well, so I can start my car from my watch, which sounds like a stupid ad, but I actually do it sometimes, especially when it's cold outside.
It's funny you say that, because I don't think I use any apps on my watch whatsoever.
I think what really sort of is my big takeaway, as someone who's, again, used an Apple Watch pretty much every day for, 5-6 years now? It's literally since day one. It is the best overall combination of a smartwatch you can buy. It is head and shoulders above anything else out there. Not only does it look nice, I always pick the stainless because it has like the sapphire glass, and also I just beat the hell out of it for years at a time before I switch it out. You've got good performance on these latest ones. You've got the LTE as an option, which I find to be super useful. Excellent integration with iOS, which, yes, I can do my workarounds and get my notifications from Android, but still, obviously it is meant to be used as an iPhone accessory.
Right.
There's so much that it does so well, and it's constantly improving, right? The little hand washing thing, right? I used to be washing my hands for like 4 seconds. Now it like bugs me to do it for 20. I'm like, you know what? This is an annoying feature, but it's something I appreciate. There's so much that this does well.
When people buy iPhones, it almost feels like I gotta get the next one next year.
Yeah.
I have to have the latest iPhone. I have to have the latest MacBook, within 2 years or whatever. All of us here have outdated watch it.
I
because
update my watch every like 3 years ish.
people ask us, why do we carry around multi-phones? Like, in our Pixel 5 video, like, why, how are you saying you're daily driving the Pixel 5, but then the watch? Well, because we're testing out these phones.
Yeah.
So, I carried around the Surface Duo for weeks that I don't want to carry extra phones in my pocket. So if I had LTE on here because I almost always talk on the phone with my AirPods.
I've been on a bike ride, literally flying at however fast I was on the bike, using the LTE watch, and I was on speakerphone talking to my wife before. I mean, obviously that's a little bit silly and no one should do that, but like, so much is so good.
My weird use case is I bring it in the shower.
I do too.
And then, because I love my shower tunes, here's what I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Lights down low.
Yeah.
Your boy has hues in his bathroom.
Of course he does.
Yeah. So I do this the Savannah preset there. Nice little dim light, shower, hot, get a little Shaggy playing on the.
Oh, okay.
And that's just a relaxing time.
Thank you very much for watching this episode of This Is. Make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more clickbait IGTV videos that we inevitably double down on the clickbait
Have
for
to
on This Is.
explain ourselves to.
No, I
And
don't like
thank you,
explaining.
Survivor Cases, for sponsoring this video.
We appreciate you guys.